What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Three Swords Productions. I'm Nathan. This is Steven, and today we're back on our Crocodile. A little bit of Crocodile versus Whitebeard.
Ooh, Crocodile, you say?
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see Crocodile try and hold its own against set 2 leaders. That is a starter deck leader from set 1.
It does have a
Uh,
good ability, though. It's a good ability.
is it?
-5 Dawn, uh, put a 5-drop. I'm sorry, -4 Dawn, and
Yeah,
put a 5-drop back into its owner's hand.
pretty good.
It comes
No,
up.
especially against the straw build variants that are trying to lean heavy on Luffy's and Frankie's. You can spend most of your turn just playing that, and Crocodile can just go, "Well, put that back in your hand."
Yeah.
Now you got a 1K. Not the strongest ability, of course, but I think it has some play here. You ready?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Let's see how it does.
All right. So yeah, from the Crocodile side, what are you looking for here? Just starting off with the buggies,
Well,
trying to establish the 4-drop blockers.
we're definitely looking for a good curve. We are playing Crocodile. The 5 costs 7K, so we're looking for that. We also
Mm.
want to see, Arboresk Brick Fist, a very strong card in this game too. So that is going to cost 2 Dawn and put a 4-drop back in hand. So it's going to be a little bit more of what we're already trying to do, which is great for us, especially against this build of Strawbeard, where it is playing Luffy's, it is playing Frankie's. So gonna have some play there.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Brickfist is definitely a card that we've started to see be pretty powerful against some of these builds. And from the Whitebeard side, you're looking to have those cards, the Frankies, the Luffy's, and trying to establish those without getting them brickfisted. All
All
right.
right. Now we do have Crocodile and we have Brick Fist, so that's pretty good hands. We gotta make sure that we need to make sure that we have a decent curve, but the 7K here being able to recur a threat against the Whitebeard leader is going to be super important. So we are going to try and do that.
Right. All
Okay,
right.
and we are going first, which is just a pass from the Crocodile player. No Peronas in hand, no buggies, so nothing to do there. And on Whitebeard's side here, we're going to start with a Nami. Let's see what he picks up. Okay, seen the Frankie already in Radical Beam. A lot of good options there.
Definitely a lot of good options. You definitely want to. I like taking the Namis for late game power, trying to figure out how we're going to use that for counter power later in the game. And
Always feels
exactly here
like
with the Radical Beam.
a one-cost investment to really trade up for the end game there.
Yes.
Feels great.
With possibility for that 1-drop to be very good if you end up playing out Makinos or need to swing down on some smaller things.
Nami here is going to have a lot of play towards the end of the game. And we're going to come across the table for 8 attack here. Trying to deal that turn 2 damage to the Whitebeard player.
That turn 2 damage is good to help throw off the 9-drop at the end of the game.
And you know what else it does? It really masks the fact that I have absolutely no other plays. It really makes me seem like I know what I'm doing, but
Right, yeah.
none of my cards actually are playable.
Here we see the Frankie. Great to commit to the board, take the life, and back over to the Crocodile. Now you're probably in a world where you can start resolving some killer characters.
So we have 5 Dawn here. It's going to let us make a lot of plays. But one really attractive play here is attack for 8 again.
We are here to attack. Why would we not?
So I think I really like the idea of establishing 5-cost Croc on the table this turn. However, you spent your turn playing Frankie, which lined up incredibly well with my Brick Fist. So I think another 8K attack really taking you off the 9 gate, and then paying 2 Dawn to put that Frankie back in your hand is such an attractive turn to me that I just couldn't refuse.
It works out, I think.
It's a little bit of a time walk there.
A little bit of an extra turn there. A bit. Now I am up to 6 Dawn, so you do have to worry about maybe something like
Oh yeah.
like a King Do plus a Nami or something, but looks like we're just coming in for 7.
Coming for 7, dealing the first damage to me for this turn. So I'm actually still feeling pretty good about what's happening. I mean, I go to 4. I have a lot of cards in my hand. You have a lot of cards in your hand.
Yeah.
And we're kind of both just feeling like, hey, the game is just being started.
Okay.
See,
And we do see the King Do, just like
see
we
the King
expected.
Do, yep.
And
Now, one of the powerful things about the Crocodile ability here is King Do is actually a really strong character. It's a 7K. It's going to be really hard for us to attack. Or we could just use our ability and put it back in the opponent's hand once we kind of establish some board here.
Yes. The only thing I think really to consider about whether you should minus Dawn or not is if this is going to be a game where you're trying to resolve 9-drop Mihawk.
Well, when do I need to resolve the 9-drop Mihawk?
Sure.
That's super important. It's going to take us back a turn.
Yeah. -4 Dawn takes you back essentially, 2 turns behind?
Two turns, yeah.
Definitely a cost to really invest in that. Not something you can easily repeat for the rest of the game.
No, you can't. You just can't repeat it every turn. But if your cards line up well with it, you can do it. Let's see what I do here. So swing at you for 7.
I assume mostly for Dawn efficiency is the 7.
Yeah, I think it's 7K here because we are looking to play the 5-cost Mihawk.
And that makes sense.
I'm sorry, 5-cost Crocodile.
Yeah.
The 5-cost Mihawk, huh? Set 9 mentality. And 7K here, you take the discipline is actually just take that because
I'm taking it on the next turn regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
I can easily counter out. My hand is full of 2Ks, but
I have no problem with the small.
And now it's actually a consideration. Should you bounce it, or I'm sorry, should you bounce the King Do because I'm at such a low life total? You could just start pressuring that way and force me to really commit my Dawn to defending a bit more with events than I would be able to play things. The discipline, however, is here not using it, even though it's on the table, and saving that up for what could be even a bigger play next turn.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the best ways to pressure your hand is just be able to swing with as much power as possible. So if we were to go -4 here, we go down to 3, we'd go back to 5 on the following turn, and that would be a 10K attack that you would just need 3 cards to get out of, plus 1 card to get out of the Crocodile swing. That is not enough cards, especially my opponent's sitting at probably 10 or 11 at the moment.
Yeah.
They could survive just from that math alone for almost 4 turns. That is not a play pattern we want to try and get out of. So we're going to wait a little bit and try to see what else we can establish before making those plays. Now, interesting that you didn't have a blocker there, played a Frankie instead. So we are going to have a lot of Dawn to attack you with, as well as a lot of plays open to us. So.
Yep. Leave some amount of Dawn open here from the Newgate side, just because we need to worry about keeping open events if he decides that this is a turn for large attacks.
And we are going to go just a 7K at your face. You lose 1 2K, but we get to play the Mihawk and put the 5-drop back on the bottom of the deck.
Very good.
And that Mihawk is a repetitive, is just a recursive way to deal, a large sum of attack to you every turn. You're gonna have to commit 2 cards just for the Mihawk without anything attached to him. That is going to be, that's basically what we need.
Yep. And then we saw the Crocodile ability come in there to put Frankie back in my hand. Which means that my board is now empty again, which is a bit scary. The 1-2 punch of those things, Mihawk into Crocodile, was
and
very
I think
good.
that Mihawk turn plus the Crocodile effect is like the reason. Like if you could clip any moment to be like, what does Crocodile bring to the table?
Right.
That turn was it, because now I'm down to 5. On the following turn, I'm going to go to 7. That's Emporio Ivankov turn.
True.
So if you was swung at me right now to try and clear the Croc, I can discard my entire hand, play Ivankov, draw, play Luffy, put a card back in your hand.
Yeah, it's definitely powerful. And then you still have a Crocodile ability if you need to.
And we
use it
still
too.
have Crocodile ability.
Yep.
Which would take us down to 3, be going back to 5 on the following turn, so we can actually still attack you for a lot. And those play patterns, once you get to this very late stage of the game, is exactly the turf the Crocodile wants to be on, and those are some very fun lines to look at.
Okay, Luffy coming down from my side. Still just needing to pressure down the life a bit here. Still have to keep some amount of Dawn open for the events that we want to play. Not equipping anything to it.
Just a 6K, I mean, you have no blockers to try and get around, and 6K is already a lot of cards out of my hands, so it makes sense to me. I think also at this point, you're just looking for distractions. You're like, hey, try and get this character off the table. And I'm like, no, I'm going to your face, because I know that Luffy is a 6K, but so is your body.
All right. And at this point,
So we are
the
coming
tax
right
in.
across for 7. Now, the consideration to make that an 8K, so you have to discard a 2K plus something else, is there. I can't quite see my hand at the moment, but there definitely was some consideration for that.
And I think I did
Just to
anyways
get
for some
another.
reason. Yeah, but um,
Oh, okay. So you
yeah,
you, you also thought it was an 8K. All right.
yeah, I discarded awkwardly there. Regardless, doesn't matter.
Well, it looks like I made the attack so that the Crocodile leader could also make the swing.
Yeah,
So we got an extra card out of your hand. That's really good for us. Basically, what we need. And
Radical
also a
Beam.
consideration there to get Radical Beam plus another card. But I think we're still at 2 life. We're not actually trying to win the game this turn. We just want to get those cards out of your hand
And that's fair.
and play as many things as we can.
Yeah, you're still at 2 life, and now with 2 blockers, it feels a bit safe. Feels like you're putting up a wall.
I will say the fact that I'm passing with 1 Dawn open really makes that 9K Mihawk attack look super weak. That really should have been a 10K.
Stings a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll chalk it up to you discarded an extra 1K, which is exactly what you would have needed for me swinging 10K
True.
Mihawk.
Yeah.
I
We
think
worked
it
out together. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I'll just misplay, and you just look at me right in the face and say, "Not today, not on my watch."
All right, and then bouncing the Luffy back to my hand with the Crocodile ability is just eating up more Dawn was kind of the idea there. Just kind of force more Dawn on the table.
Yeah, so I'm very comfortable with you replaying paying 5 mana into a thing, 5 Dawn into your plays. Those are you're not playing Ace, you're not playing 9 drop, you're not playing whatever it is. And I have 1 blocker, 2 blocker. You're not going to be able to just put a lot of Dawn onto your leader and swing. You're going to have to actually recommit to the board. The
Yes.
Luffy is a very attractive card for you to put on the table because he gets past my blockers. And here I'm just going to use the blocker to kind of tell you, hey, if you want to get to my life, you're going to have to play the Luffy.
Yeah.
And I'll reward the good behavior, too. If you swing at me with the Luffy, I will take it.
And that is a very blockable Luffy, not with 2 Dawn on it.
It is
but
blockable, but I don't want to lose my Inazuma, and I'm not ready to just card cards out of my hand because it was Emporio Ivankov, and another uncounterable card. So
yeah.
not the best cards in my hand right now.
And since we've used the Crocodile ability so much, we are going to 5 Dawn, which is a low amount for all the high, big attacks you want to do here. So it is starting ever so slightly to be a little bit painful. But otherwise, it was obviously very good to keep bouncing this. And
Ivankov plus 6 cost Luffy. Not the cards that we want to see in our hand. We really want to be able to counter with those, especially as we are reducing our Dawn every turn to try and contest this Rush Luffy. We are going to need that.
Radical Beam again on the 9K Mihawk attack. When will you learn this lesson?
Right, yeah. Having the double Radical Beam there is incredibly important, and I am seeing you shuffle a 3rd in your hand right now.
Yes, a 3rd. A 3rd, of course. Another blocker out, obviously very powerful. In the face of the Luffy, you can consider using the Crocodile ability again, essentially going to what would be 2 Dawn on the following turn.
Mm-hmm.
So we are starting to get a little bit difficult.
I will
to
go to
this.
3, yeah.
3, sorry, yes, 3. There's
Yeah.
1 there. But starting to get a little bit difficult with the restrictions on the amount of Dawn we'll have. And I see nothing else but try and play the Luffy again, come in again with another attack.
You're starting to turn the tide here. You faded a lot of attacks already. And yeah, well, it's been working. Why not do it again?
Right?
Let's go. I'm happy that Crocodile is just putting us in this time machine where we are playing the same day over and over. It's a real groundhog situation.
It really is.
But look how strong, Leader Gate is at being able to handle this amount of pressure. I mean, really, this is multiple attacks per turn with 0 life, 0 blockers. You're relying strictly on Radical Beams at this point. Fresh diet of Senzu beans, and you're good.
All right, attack in with 6 or 7K from the new gate here. Block with the blocker.
None of the cards in my hand counter, so we
Right.
really need to, we're kind of forced into that block there because we know you have Rush Luffy.
Yeah, if Rush Luffy would come down and just get past the blockers, you would just die. So
Exactly. So we kind of have to do that to force you to take that line, and we have about one more turn before we lose the game here.
I imagine we see Luffy come down, attach 2 Dawn to it to get past the blocker, make sure you're down to no life for the following turn, and then hold up the rest of the Dawn for events.
Yep. But let's see what you
Considering options.
What you do here.
Yep.
You are going to play the 5-cost Luffy again. But I think you notice at this point that hey, it's looking a little worse. He is actually blocking with his characters this time, and we're just going to keep coming across. And we take that last life.
Yep. And pass it on over. All right.
So this one felt like it has a little bit gotten away from me due to probably using the Crocodile ability too much, as well as the fact that none of the cards in my hand are countering.
Right.
Both of those things hurt quite a bit.
Yeah.
So my Inazumas that should be 7Ks are locked at 5s, which is not quite enough to swing on the Whitebeard. So we're losing some attacks every turn. And the 1K counter is real good.
Yeah.
6 coming across because
again,
at this
1K
point,
again.
I'm just trying to get sheer number of cards out of your hand.
Yep.
And that is going to take you up. And that is the game with the last Radical Beam. And Whitebeard wins.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting.
Super
the
difficult.
events in hand are difficult too. That's
Pretty locked on the number of cards.
Hey,
in my
look, a
hand.
4th Radical Beam. Nice.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's so brutal. But that kind of showcases the 10K attacks were super important. But if you look back, the 10K was not happening so that the Crocodile could swing. And basically we're getting like one important card out of your hand with the Mihawk attack, and the Crocodile was just getting any card out of your hand, so it was looking to just reduce the overall quantity of cards in your hand.
I think it's fine, yeah.
Yeah. Assuming they were all 2Ks, then the 6K attack looks pretty cool. Every turn. Of course, they were all Radical Beams instead, so it was a little bit harder. But
right. But
yeah, I mean, really fun game to watch. From both sides, really. An impressive Newgate display of power. Just I'll take whatever you got every single turn. You literally can't kill me. And Crocodile just saying, we're going to relive this moment over and over and over. Very unique game mechanics that we really just don't see that type of gameplay really out of any other leader. So that was just a treat.
That was one of the more fun games we played in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good time to watch. Well, guys, if you're interested in more content, hit the playlist on the screen. And if you like the content that you're seeing out of the channel, consider subscribing. We'll catch you in the next one.